Hello, my name is Dana Trump with the Land Pride Service Department. Today we're going to show you how to install a down pressure kit on this PD15. You will need one set of rear remotes for your tractor to hydraulically operate the down pressure kit. We'll walk you through a few steps here for installation in a few moments. Okay, the down pressure kit does come with its own set of instructions to install it on the unit. They're also listed in the operator's manual on the post hole digger. Step-by-step instructions. First thing we need to do is remove this Carter pin, and this pin, we're going to replace this pin with our brackets and a longer pin. Okay, the next step in the manual is to put the long bolt in and the spacer on the bottom hole. Start your nut. It is a lock nut. You want to get the cylinder pinned in before you tighten this up. Cylinder's next. Here's our cylinder. I removed the standard pin and discarded it. The assembly does come with a longer pin to use. Okay, we got this one here put on, the cylinder's put on. Started tightening up my bolt. I checked back in the manual and noticed I forgot to put the two washers, one on each side here. We put them back in here. Then we tighten the bolt up. Now we're going to put this clamp on. I like the slider up in there, that helps hold that thing still. And again, we're just starting these nuts. We want them loose so we can adjust it properly before we tighten it down. Now I've got the top captured, and I can get the top two bolts real nicely because they're lining up very well. Now, going back to the manual, this thing clamps down right here. This is where we want to put it, but we need to take and pull this thing this way a ½ inch further. We will use the tape measure to do that, and that's where you want to tighten your nuts down. We want just a little bit of room here. We do not want it bottomed out 100%. We need just a little bit of room for extra play. You do not want to bind this in any way, shape, or form. Next step, we're going to measure out a ½ inch. We're going to tighten these four here. Okay, I've taken out the plugs on the cylinder, and the next thing we're going to do is start putting our fittings in. For the first one, we're not going to use this unit. We're going to tear it back down. So this needs to be taped. We'll put that one there on. Now comes your block. You notice on the block it's got a hole on each side and also one on the bottom. Straight pass through, so therefore it's not mattering which way you go there. The T is going to go on one side of this block and also into this fitting here. I'll snug those up. Make sure you screw this block on far enough so the threads of that T get down in there really good. Next, on the bottom of here, there's another T. So, on the outside of the block, we got an elbow, 90 degree we're going to put in. And if you look at these fittings, you will see where that O-ring is supposed to set. There's a little flat spot in there, there's no thread. There's a metal washer here. You want to make sure that this O-ring is tied up right there in that shoulder where it's flat. So that's why I made a comment, make sure you screw these in far enough. Screw it in till you get good contact, then snug up your jam nut. That's my pressure line, so I want to come down about there. Now we got a hose, a jumper hose. We're going to go from the first T-fitting closest to the cylinder to the bottom of the block. And if need be, I've got these little loose here. We can actually adjust that so it's a little bit more normal without extreme pressure. The kit does come with a vent. That'll be installed on this end here. Now we're ready for our pressure hose. Okay, our next step, the kit does come with a supplied hose. This is the pressure line. It goes to the 90 degree fitting on the outside of this block. The other end of this hose will accept your male tip to go to the tractor rear remote. Again, this is the pressure line. So we'll put a male tip on there. The next line is customer supplied. We just cut off a chunk of hose plenty long enough. This is the return line. We're going to hook it into the front of this T. Now this return line cannot go through the rear remote. It must go to sump. So on this particular tractor here, there where you fill the hydraulic oil, we're going to pull that cap off. What a lot of guys will do is shove that down in there. You can take a rag, wrap around it, get some wire, tighten it tight so that way when you get it held in place, the hose does not jiggle down into the transmission further. Cheesy way of doing it, yes, but it must return to sump. However, some tractor models, if you got a technician that knows the tractor really well, some transmissions have open ports. They can actually put a fitting in it and you can dump back the case right there. We cannot run this line through the rear remote. I'll explain this a little bit so you understand it. When you're letting this thing down, you're going to let her down until she stops going down. Then you're going to activate your pressure line on your hydraulics. This is going to make this cylinder extend. It's going to tighten this crack up here, and it's going to want to take and push this apart. In that process of that, this boom is going to go down. This is a bypass valve. Not all the pressure the tractor develops goes through here to the cylinder. A small portion of it comes to the cylinder, the rest of it dumps back to tank. At any time you got oil coming into here, you still got oil coming through the return hose dumped back to tank. When you're done drilling your hole, you've released your valve, stop the cylinder from moving. When you raise the unit up with the 3-point, This valve is set so that the bypass, the oil in the cylinder is going to bypass right back through here, dump out the return. The cylinder is going to retract, and that's how it works. That's why you cannot run it through a remote. It's got to be open to sump, some way, shape, or form. So that's basically it in a nutshell. You're assembling these. Again, this is the number one question we have on down pressure kits. It's got to go to sump. It's got to be a case drain. It can have no other pressure against it. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any other questions, consult your operator's manual or see your local Land Pride dealer. And thank you for buying Land Pride.